Hello guys, this is Tynrael. Welcome to another episode of New Horizons modded career in Kerbal space program. As you can see, there's this beautiful orange fringe over the horizon. I have installed Scatterer as a mod. It did not used to work for systems that had a reparented Kerbal, but it actually works with New Horizons now. You can also see that I have some flickering light. I have illumination coming from my engines, which I think adds a nice effect. But I'm sending this rocket up to rendezvous with the initial atomic tug with some tourists, because I've also obtained Tourism Plus to make more interesting contracts for tourists. So we're going to go modify the initial atomic tug a little bit and take some tourists to go see an asteroid, which is something I haven't done before. So the main purpose of this end stage was just to transition some additional fuel and to hold this container that would allow me to bring this advanced grabbing unit claw to attach to the initial atomic tug. So we're going to see how well we can get that to go. So the claw is too big to fit into Bargain's inventory, so I have to attach it to the tug by dragging it from the vessel it's at. So I need to be able to have Bargain between these two ships and hope that he can be stable enough to pull it out and attach it without things drifting too far apart. Attach. Okay, so now we have a claw, which is a lot larger than I thought it would be based on just the picture in the vehicle assembly building. But we have a claw. Now we just need to swap out Bargain's vessel for the tourist vessel, and then we're going to go to the asteroid with that and leave Bargain in orbit around Kerbal. I had forgotten that the only brain on the atomic tug was on Bargain's vessel, and I had anticipated fixing this. That's why I put another probe core in the storage unit, but I got to do that before I detached my vessel. So I should be able to... I guess I can't pick that up. That is going to be a problem. I will put it into the rocket bandage, I guess. So I'll grab the Clampotron, put it in there. Everything's starting to float away. Now I'll just attach this, I guess. And then put the Clampotron docking port back on. Now I can actually run away with Bargain. For this other vessel though, I no longer need anything below here. So I can stage to just my guys here. Well, that took longer than I anticipated to get that part of the ship with the tourists connected, probably because it's not easy to get in between all of those external tanks. But now there's an asteroid that I located because I actually have 3 contracts. One to be in orbit for 4 hours, which I'll do really quick before I go off to meet the asteroid. But then I have 2 contracts to bring Kerbals to visit an asteroid, and 1 contract to bring a Class A asteroid into orbit around Kerbal. And Class A asteroids are very, very rare. It took me fast forwarding probably like 50 days before I was able to find one, which is this one right here. So we're gonna go rendezvous with that and try to bring it back to Kerbin. So this asteroid is tiny. I can see why it's the smallest class. I wonder how big the largest is. I think I've seen E's. I wonder what Apter would be considered, but closing in on this one. Time to prepare my claw, which I'm not sure how to use. Right click options are arm. Is it like a harpoon? Arm, disarm. So it looks like it's probably less of a harpoon and more of a bear trap. I will collide with the asteroid, I guess, and see what happens. Target center of mass. Doesn't appear to change much. I will use docking controls to try and get this centered because I want to fly it home, so I don't want it too skewed. Let's see, what's a good view for this? Two meters a second probably shouldn't be too dangerous, but I don't know. I think the worst that'll happen is I'll bounce off. Okay. Now I almost wish I brought Bargain in case this doesn't turn very well. Yeah, it's got some wobble to it. But that should also be working for my contracts. The timer should be counting down for my tourists. Ah. Tourism Plus. Bring one tourist to visit an asteroid. Destination Kerbin. So these are not going to update until I push this to Kerbin. And I don't know what kind of fuel that will take, but it looks like this is one vessel now. So I'll get to Kerbin and we can start counting down on that. So the countdown should be going now for my tourism. Yep. So 13 more minutes to complete that. So now I just have to return these guys home. And I have to attain an orbit for this asteroid in order to complete that. Shouldn't be very difficult. So, rename asteroid. Oh, that's cool. Let's call this, Potatoroid 01. I think that's what they were initially called before they had many names. But I think that I'll release and head back to Kerbin now with my tourists. And I'll have to come back and visit this with a drill and see what I get from that. But I think that this orbit is a little much to leave my atomic tug. So I think that's a good orbit for my initial atomic tug. I have everything that I need. I will decouple this part of the ship, turn on RCS, and safely push away. It's dark, but it's looking like it's going to be a water landing. My parachutes are green and good to go. Well, now that we're getting lower in the atmosphere and the light's coming through, it's kind of pretty. And there we have it. We successfully set out with a bunch of tourists to capture an asteroid, and we had them visit it for 15 minutes and brought it back to orbit around Kerbal from Sauna. I saw in space that it looked like it was still renamed OMN 482. But that's nice to have. So I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes, and I will catch you in the next one.